Good afternoon, sir.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. Well, since my last Nintendo 64 video, there's been a few updates. So the last one I did was the update that was released on the 13th of September. Well, since there's been one for the 15th, the 16th, and the one we're looking at now is the latest one, the 17th. And guys, a lot more games are working. Honestly, the work Robert is doing is just awesome. So be sure to check out his Patreon. As always, I'll leave a link to that in the description of the video. Now watch me do a 007 The World Is Not Enough, or abbreviated as 007 Twine. Watch me do this mission badly and just fail it. But we're going to have a look at a few games. We're going to have a look at the notes with each and every update. But in the meantime, why do a mission properly when you can do a mission poorly? You know, 007 style. I'm 007. I'll punch absolutely anyone. Anyway, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hey, a subscription and a like is super appreciated. Let's have a look at some N64 games. And one of the most noteworthy games that is working on the core now is Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. And guys, this is a fun game. Like, I like Kirby games. My favorite Kirby game will always be the Game Boy DMG Kirby. I think it's called Kirby in Dreamland. Absolutely fantastic. Long story about that. Like, I had the Game Boy Color, it was neglected. I had the DMG Kirby in Dreamland in there, and like, my kids played it when they're growing up. At one point, I even caught my kids jumping up and down on the actual Game Boy, and the Game Boy still survived. I ended up modding it because they just kind of destroyed it too much, but it didn't break. It was just dirty, but I reskinned it. Anyway, back to this. Kirby 64 is working. Now let's have a look at some of the notes that Robert Peip, the developer of the core, has provided with each update. So on the 15th, here we go. RDP fixed load block overflow when loading max line length. It fixes black screen in Kirby, and that's the game we're trying out now. And then FPU fix add sub handling to infinity. Fixes 007 The World Is Not Enough instant in-game hang. Okay, that's the game that we saw in the intro. FPU fix compare commands to reset status flags. And then we've got first preparation of RDP for dual texturing in LOD, which should not yet have any visual impact. Okay, now let's have a look at the updates provided for the 16th, which is RDP add dual texturing, RDP implement prim level and LOD frac, or whatever that means. Sorry, you know, I'm not the most technical guy. And combine alpha in color combiner. RDP fixed regression for texture rectangle tile. Right, okay, now finally this update here, the 17th, and what Robert has put in here, implement flash save handling. So there were some games that weren't saving before, and it's because it was a different type of save. Well, I guess those games are saving now. And then remove save states from OSD for now, because maybe that's because they're not working. I can't remember. I've not kept up with this Discord as much as I usually do because they have been working, and I spent a long time doing like my weekly news video and the Saturn video. But it's nice to come to N64 today. And guys, this game is just really good. And an awesome thing about this, you can play this on D-pad. Like, there's not enough games on the Nintendo 64 that use the D-pad. Like, I'm a big fan of the D-pad for 2D games. Don't get me wrong, I like analog stick games, there's nothing wrong with them, but a lot of these games I just prefer them on a D-pad. You know, growing up primarily playing on D-pads, I still like going to the D-pad, and sometimes I find some games that can be played on a D-pad, well, you can't play them on a D-pad, but Kirby, you can. And I think while doing this video, I came across like another game or two that lets you play on D-pad. It's always a pleasure to have different kind of control schemes, or go back to like the digital controls. But as you can see, Kirby is running really well. It's fantastic, it plays well, it sounds well, and honestly, this is a gem of a game. And in absolute 100% honesty, this is the first time I've ever played or tried this game. Like, I never ever played the Kirby game on the Nintendo 64, so it was quite a nice surprise. I didn't know what to expect. I thought maybe I'm going to play something I'm not going to like it, but this Kirby game definitely delivers. And if you're going to try out this core, I've got tutorials on how to set up the core. There'll be a link in the description. Play it, honestly, it's fantastic. This Kirby game is a lot of fun. Guys, here we have Winback. Covert Operations. I knew this as Operation Winback here. And guys, when this came out, to be honest, I never gave this game the time of day. I had a game shop when this came out, and this always seemed like a poor man's Metal Gear Solid. You know, on the PlayStation we had Metal Gear Solid, one of the best games I've ever played. To this day, it's an amazing gaming experience. I can't wait for like the HD remasters. I really hope they kind of improve the control schemes, because going back to the Metal Gear games, the control schemes are a little tough. But you know what, this game is actually decent. It is actually a fun game. I didn't realize it would be this much fun. I never played it. I just remember seeing this out for the Nintendo 64, and we always just thought of this as the poor man's Metal Gear. Do let me know in the comments below if you played this. I know this game was requested in one of the previous N64 videos, so today when we're doing the video, I'm trying games that previously didn't work, and I'm also just doing some requests, even though we have tested those out before. But I do like the general rule of explosive like crates and barrels in this game, and it does look like a decent game. I should have maybe given this the time of day back in the day. I didn't. I'm testing it out now and it's decent, but I'm definitely interested in your kind of stories on this. If you played this, if you only had the Nintendo 64, was this your version, or was this your kind of alternative or your substitute for Metal Gear Solid if you didn't have a PS1? Anyway, it is a decent game. I do like the auto targeting in here. The only thing I don't like about the N64, everything's inverted. Whatever game you play, the controls are inverted, so when you're aiming and I'm trying to if I move the stick down, he starts looking up. I don't know, that seems to have been the trend on the N64, but hey, this game's working decently. Okay, a big shout out to my buddy Andy D, who actually recommended this game, and he said when you check this out and you pick Goofy, some of the language is very, very suggestive. And here we go, Goofy's offering up some vegetables and she's going to make a big batch of delicious vegetable cookies. Who eats vegetable cookies, guys? Like, I don't know. Is that a Disney thing? That just sounds horrible. I mean, if you're gonna eat cookies, you want to eat sweet things. But I wanted to run this game, so I think this is called Disney's or Mickey's Magical Tetris Challenge. That's it, Magical Tetris Challenge. Always kind of forget because I had difficulty finding this. I was looking for like Mickey Tetris, and then I had to Google it, and it's Magical Tetris Challenge. So I picked Goofy over here. Okay, I don't like this game, and the reason I don't like this game is because it's got some crazy blocks in it, and hopefully we'll get to see some before I kind of end this segment of the video. But I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you guys a joke. So this is a Disney joke. So Disney and Minnie are at the divorce lawyer, and the divorce lawyer says to Mickey Mouse, "You cannot divorce Minnie Mouse because she's stupid." And Mickey replies, "I didn't say she's stupid, I said she's effing goofy." Okay, I always like that joke. Let me know in the comments below if you think that's a good joke. You can't call that a dad joke because a dad joke doesn't kind of have swearing in it, so it wouldn't have effing in there. But I kind of enjoyed this because, hey guys, I love Tetris. It's no big secret. It's my favorite puzzle game. I tried Tetris Rom Hacks. Even though I don't like some of the Rom Hacks, I do like the work that goes in there. And I don't mind experimenting and trying a little bit. Now, the golden rule for Tetris is each piece should only consist of 4 blocks. Well, that's not the case in this game. You start getting here, you go, look at what am I supposed to do with that block? It's just horrible. Like, for that reason, I will never play this game. I hate it. Don't get me wrong, I like some change, but you know what, I just can't do all those blocks, and they get worse. You get like a 3x3 made out of 9 pieces, a 9-piece square block. You get, I don't know, you get some crazy stuff. Here you go, you got a 5-piece long piece. I don't know, it just feels wrong. Let me know in the comments below, did you play this? I mean, it's working nice. There's some graphical errors there that I can see on like the bottom left of the screen, and maybe up top as well, which kind of reminds me of that Disney show Dinosaurs. You know the baby dinosaur? It's probably not him. It's probably like a stretched out frog. If you look at the top right where that frog is, that frog reminds me of there's a chocolate bar. It's definitely here in the UK. It's called like, what's it called? Frodo. I think it's called Frodo or Freddy. It's a frog one. Why have I forgotten what it's called? It's a Cadbury's cheap chocolate bar. It's like, it used to be really cheap, but it's quite expensive now due to inflation and whatnot. Freddo, I think it's called the Freddo. That looks like the Freddo frog anyway. But there you go, that's what I'm talking about. Look at those blocks. I can't do Tetris like that. Again, let me know in the comments below if you like this, if you played it. Do you like all these extra blocks? Because honestly, I don't. But the game's working well. It's playable, it's fun, and the language between Minnie and Goofy is definitely very, very suggestive at the very least. Okay, next up, let's have a look at the Xena game. I remember seeing this, never ever played it, but I'm trying to find Hercules. Where are you, Hercules? I couldn't find him, so here I am with Xena. And guys, this game is janky fun. It's a fighting game, 3D-ish, I don't know, sword fighting where you end up using a lot of kicks as well. But to all the guys out there, all you guys, when you were young, you know, did you have a crush or a semi-crush on Xena? Yeah, hands up, I did, guys. I thought she was hot. I never quite watched the show. I didn't really like it too much, but I know it kind of it was a spin-off. Was it? Do you remember there used to be that TV show Hercules, and was Xena a spin-off of that? At least from what I remember, there were some episodes featuring Hercules and Xena. But yeah, man, like the game's janky, but it's fun. It's fun in the funniest kind of way. And yeah, man, like that 3D polygon Xena, yeah, she looks kind of hot. Maybe I'm weird for saying that. Anyway, this works. It works well if you want to get the boys around and have some one-on-one Xena action. Okay, next up, let's have a look at a couple of racing games, and this is California Speed. I haven't tried this game before. It's the first time I've tried it, and I have to say the Nintendo 64 does have a decent amount of races on there, and a decent amount of good races. This game, it feels okay. Like, to play it, I would have been satisfied with this back in the day, you know. We always kind of played Mario Kart for the multiplayer aspect, but this game's just fun. It just feels good. Like, honestly, it's the first time I playing it, and you know what's really good? The games that have aged badly, if I've played them for the first time, I'm like, oh man, I know I'm doing this for a video, but this just feels terrible. But there's a lot of games on the N64 that I'm playing now that I think are decent, and this is definitely one of them. And that's one of the great things about this core. By the way, the car can actually swim in water as well, and that's one of this great thing about testing cores on the MiSTer. Same thing with the Saturn, same thing with the Nintendo 64. I'm finding games I would have never tried, even though I kind of did have access to the majority of these games here. I didn't try all of them, and it's nice to find some hidden gems, nice to find some games that I never would have tried that I'm trying now and I am enjoying. And this is an enjoyable game. Let me know down below if you played this. I think there's an arcade version of this game as well. As usual, I don't always do my research, I just kind of waffle on, but I think there's an arcade version of this. But yeah, let me know below in the comments below if there was an arcade version. Did you play it, and did you play this on the N64? Because me trying this for the first time, yeah, I think it's a great game. Oh, I think we're gonna do a jump here. No, okay, it wasn't here. I think it was further down. All right, let's move. Oh no, here's the jump. This looks really cool. Ha ha ha. Okay, let's move on to the next game. Ridge Racer 64. Now, we tested this before, but someone actually said if I wouldn't mind testing it again, and I agreed, and I said I'll test it out, and it runs really good. It just looks really good. It plays well. Now, I haven't quite mastered this. The main version that I really do like playing, and I still go back to, yeah, surprise, it's a handheld version. It's the PSP version. I do like booting it up on my Vita from time to time and playing it, and the Vita just has such a nicer screen. Like, the PSP had good graphics, but it just didn't have a great screen. But the Vita does have a decent screen. But the skidding, the way you skid in this version is definitely very different to how it's done on the PS Vita. So, but it's not, I'm not saying this is a bad game, it's just I'm banging into the sides a lot because, hey, I'm not used to it. And like every good racing game, an arcade racing game has to have one of three things. It has to have hot air balloons, it has to have a helicopter, or it has to have an aeroplane either taking off or landing. That is a must. If the arcade game doesn't have that in there at some point, chances are it's not a great game. Like, all the good arcade racers have one of these three things. Anyway, Ridge Racer runs good. Let's try something else. The early Command & Conquer games, guys, honestly, they're some of the best real-time strategy games I've ever played. We're talking original Command & Conquer, I think Command & Conquer 2. The series that I really liked was Red Alert and Red Alert 2. I just thought they were fantastic. Now, this plays on the N64. Some of, like, your characters or some of your inventory, or I don't know if it's some of your vehicles, they're actually missing because I can see like the energy bar, but I can't see them. Now, honestly, like, even if this later on with other updates, this works 100%, the question is, do you really want to play this on the N64? Because for me, this is a mouse and keyboard game. Hell, I'd rather play it on an iPad with touch controls because that's more intuitive to a game like this. Playing this on Nintendo 64, honestly, it is just punishment. I mean, I bought one of the Red Alert games for the PlayStation because at the time I didn't have a PC, and I liked playing it, and I was like, let me play it. And I kind of played it on that, but it's not the right way to play it. It is just wrong. It's like trying to playing this on a controller is like playing Street Fighter on a mouse. It sounds crazy, right? Well, it's almost like that. But you know, if you did play this, did you have this for the N64? Did you play this for the N64? And more importantly, did you enjoy this for the Nintendo 64? As you can see here, look, when I highlight a whole bit of the ground, I've highlighted troops there that were invisible, that I didn't even know were there, but they are there. I just couldn't see them. I can see like the energy bar now, but it's nice to see this game working. It's nice to see any game working, but honestly, like I just don't get it. I mean, if you've got no other option and you only had the N64 and this is how you played it, I get it. But if you've got a PC or something, play it on that, guys. And this is one of the games I test it out every update, even if I don't film it and put it in a video. I like testing it, because I just love this game. I think it's beautiful, it looks amazing, and I think there's like a Nintendo Switch remake coming out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it must be. I think it's a remake of this Paper Mario game, and it's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, I think, in 2024. So I'll more than likely be picking it up, because I do really like Paper Mario game, and I can't. This is one of the games I really want to see working on the MiSTer, and it will come at the pace Robert is working at. Things are just coming fast, and it's amazing. Now, the reason I'm showing this, it does crash, but we're getting a little bit further. So initially, I couldn't get to over here. So I got really excited. I'm like, yes, I'm in game. We are going to get there, because previously I didn't get to this part. And honestly, I was like, yes, I'm going to get a chance to play some. And then, well, we're going to see what happens. So hopefully with another update, and I can feel it, a few updates from now, we're not going to get that text. And hopefully the game is going to work and we can enjoy it and play it. Okay guys, while on the subject of games that crash but we get a little bit further in the games, this is Killer Instinct, and I try this game pretty much every time. I like Killer Instinct. I played it a lot on the Super Nintendo. Not something I played a lot on the Nintendo 64, but something I kind of intend to play on the Nintendo 64, but not using the Nintendo 64 controller. I'll probably use an arcade stick or the Sega Saturn M30, because hey, I think it'll work better on this game. But here we go. We get a little bit further into the game, which we didn't before. As soon as the characters kind of load up and it's like ready, well, you're going to be waiting a long time for ready. You might as well boot up another game, because it does not go further than this at the moment, but it is further than the previous time I tried this game on a previous version of the core. Okay guys, let's finish off this video with a Japanese exclusive game called Virtual Pro Wrestling 64. Hopefully I've got that title correct. Now it's got wrestlers in there from like WCW and I think NWO, as well as other ones. I tried to pick like a mixture of them. This is like a 4-man Royal Rumble mode, and honestly guys, like, try this game out. It's a Japanese only one. If you've got the no intro ROM set, it is in there available for you to play. The guy on the bottom right kind of looks like Andre the Giant. And another good thing is, well, this game's playable on D-pad. You can't actually play this on the analog stick. So I think initially I was moving around on the analog stick thinking, what is going on? But obviously the D-pad is where the movement comes in. And honestly, like, I am not the biggest fan of wrestling games. Like, my wrestling game is WWF Superstars, the arcade version. I played one on the NES, I think it was called How Wrestling, and I dabbled with some, but then I think later on down the line, I just got fed up with the grappling and the button mashing, especially when it came to like the PlayStation era. But honestly, this is a fun wrestling game, and it's something definitely worth trying. But in regard to the core, guys, the core is just coming along nicely. Like, look at this. Look how perfect it looks. I don't know this game. I haven't played this game before. The first time I'm playing this game is what you're seeing here. And I do like doing my testing blind, because, hey, I'll get a good first impression on the games. If the game's good, I'll be like, wow, this game's good, it's aged well. If the game's bad, I'll be like, okay, this game's bad. But I try not to criticize the games too much unless they're really bad, because some of you guys out there, you know, this might have been your favorite game growing up. It's just I'm playing it for the first time and it is really just dog doo-doo now. But this game here just feels good, and there's a lot of games on the N64 when I'm playing them for the first time, yeah man, they're really good. And this wrestling game, yeah, it's fantastic. Like, I can't believe how good it is. I don't know how much I'll play it. I don't know if I'll revisit it, but I had a good time playing this. Like, I felt like it went on. I didn't really work out what the pin button was, but it's got like special moves and stuff in there. They do some crazy ones. It's got some show off stuff in there. It is good, and honestly, like this core is amazing. And guys, if you've been testing out this core, if you've been playing it, then consider supporting the developer Robert Peip over on Patreon. I joined his Patreon recently because, you know, I got so much fun out of this core. I just felt, yeah, you know, and I do the channel, I thought, you know what, some of my YouTube ad money that I'm getting should go to some Patreon. So I'm actually subscribed to 3 different developers Patrons now, and hopefully as my ad revenue or my YouTube income increases, I can support more developers out there, because hey, without them I wouldn't really have all this content. And also, one other thing to point out as well, on Patreon, I know like when you sign up and it's a continuous payment. But for example, if you just wanted to do one payment, you could just sign up to Patreon and just cancel straight away, because that's the only way I can see you guys doing like a one payment, which at least to me is acceptable. You know, you pay a one-off thing and then you cancel it, you know, before the month ends, just to give a one-off payment, because Patreon doesn't give you that choice. But I don't want to go too much into the payment thing. Honestly, I like Robert's work, I support it, and I encourage anyone that is financially able to do so. You know, if you want to, then do it. I understand not everyone's going to be in that financial position, but that's it, guys. I feel like I've gone on too much with that, but I did want to get that point across. Anyway, guys, that's really it for this video. Do test out this Japanese only exclusive wrestling game. It's fantastic, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'll see you guys around. I'll see you guys around in another N64 video. I don't know what video I'm going to be doing next, but there'll be some coming. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hey, a subscription, a like is super duper pooper appreciated. And I'll see you guys around. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.